Reason why you guys get hired, you have the best training programs in the world. You're the best at what you do. I mean, in fact, you're the best at what you do. And everything they've done has been designed. The fact is that, Wall Street investors didn't build this country. Ordinary folks, middle class, built it, and unions built the middle class. That's how we got to where we are, and continue to try to hollow out the union movement, hollow out the middle class is what's going on, been going on for some time now. And I promise you, if I'm elected, it stops. It stops. You're going to have the best friend labor's ever had in the White House, because my dad used to have an expression, and when he had to leave Scranton because there was no work and moved away to Delaware to find work, was that he'd say, Joey, a job's about a lot more than a paycheck. It's about your dignity. It's about respect. It's about your place in the community. It's about being able to look your kid in the eye and say, honey, it's going to be okay. Well, the fact is that there's an awful lot of people who don't think their kids are ever going to be able to reach the standard of living they had because of what's going on. And the House has passed legislation, that the so-called HEROES Act, that provides for significant help to allow people, first responders, whether they are docs or whether they're firefighters, police officers, whether they are whoever they are, the folks keeping the sewers functioning, the people who make the system work, and provided the money for states to be able to pay them. You all know that states have to have a balanced budget. There's a reason why the federal government was designed not to have one, to be able to be a ballast for when things got really bad. We inherited one of the worst economies that existed when the so-called financial collapse it was, the worst recession short of a depression in American history when Barack and I got elected. And he put me in charge of a program called the Recovery Act, and it provided for over $800 billion in stimulus. But what it did, I was able to spend $144 billion making up for states' deficits, so teachers didn't get fired, so that firefighters didn't get fired, so police officers didn't get fired, so essential workers didn't get fired. All those folks out there that are busting their neck, keeping the groceries stacked on the shelf so everybody else can be okay. All those nurses and doctors taking their shots and risking their lives to keep us going. Those firefighters that show up and don't ask, by the way, do you have COVID? They just take care of the problem. And he has been spending too much time in his golf courses and his sand traps instead of going up. I mean, for real, think about this. I've been around a while. I can't think of any president in the middle of a crisis like this, and there's been other crises, both foreign and domestic, that has not called in the leadership of the Republican and Democratic parties to the White House, to the Oval Office, to sit and work out an agreement. But there's no desire to work out an agreement here. It's just the ability to make sure that he's able to do the minimum things that are necessary to make it look like he's trying. But he's not even had a meeting with them. And so a lot of people are hurting. A whole lot of people are hurting right now and things we could be avoiding right now. And I was going to say I don't get it, but I'm beginning to get it, because I don't think it's not what he's about. He talks about this K-shaped recovery, meaning on the letter K, one part goes up, okay? When you're doing the K, boom, okay, the K is up. That's the stock market. Long as the stock market's doing great, everything's okay as far as him, but everybody else is getting clobbered. Everybody else is hurting. And so I just think that, and the other expression my dad used to talk about, he said, the only way to deal with power, the abuse of power, is with power. And the only power out there to counter the abuse or the extreme abuse of corporate power is unions, labor, the only ones who have the wherewithal to take it on. And that's why I think everyone, including public employees, should have the right to organize and make their case for what they are entitled to have, what they're able to work, what they should be being paid, how they should be treated. And it's all about just, basic fundamental decency. But I think we've got an enormous opportunity because the public has changed. I'll say one last thing here, and you want to ask me any questions. You know, all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, the last 8, 10 years, things have changed in the following way. People, hourly workers who thought unions were the problem. Remember how unions were the issue? That's why we weren't. Well, you know, all of a sudden they found out you had thousands of employees making an hourly wage having to sign non-compete agreements. So if you worked at Burger King, you had to sign a non-compete agreement. You would not go across town to McDonald's to try to get 5 more cents in your hourly wage. All designed to do nothing, just to keep wages down. You could not go. It's not like you had a secret that was consequential and you couldn't give away that secret because it's a high-tech industry to another industry you go to work for. These are people making an hourly wage, just doing just their job. And they were told they couldn't even bargain for themselves, let alone have a union do it. And I remember going up to when, well, I won't go into it, but the point is, all of a sudden they figured it out. And then all of a sudden they figured out, too, the reason they got overtime pay is because of unions. Because look at all the overtime was being cut from people who weren't union members. They reclassify you as management. That if you worked in a grocery store and you controlled the man or woman who brought out the cart that had all the spaghetti sauce on it, you were management. You control that cart. I mean, literally. And that's what people realize, that this abuse has caught up with them. And this economic crisis caused by his failure to deal rationally with COVID, not even acknowledging it. I mean, look, it's going to, warm weather is going to make it go away. It's going to be like a miracle. It's going to be passed. I'm going to have a vaccine for you quickly that everyone's going to be fine. It's just, it's all about refusing to deal with the problems that affect ordinary, hardworking people. And I think one of the ways back is to considerably strengthen the union movement.